Hey, what's up guys? Tony here, and you're watching some more iRacing. This is the Roof GT3 challenge at Laguna Seca. This is definitely not one of my favorite tracks. It is also week 1 of a new season at a quote-unquote free track, an included track, which is Laguna Seca. It's a track that I kind of feel is like my home track. It's the closest real track to me as far as a road course. It's iconic. It's a course that I never run. And it's one of those courses when it comes up, I'm like, skip it. There's just sections of the track that I just don't, I don't know, I just don't have it. Turn 6 is the one turn that just always gets me. I just don't know how to take that section. Actually, well, to be honest, it's about turn 5 and 6 are the two that really get me. So with it being week 1, participation was particularly high. With it being a included track, everybody was like jumping on this thing to run it, and there was a lot of sessions that went official. There were also a lot of drivers that did a lot of questionable things, and so I did not have a really good first week. It was a pretty terrible first week, actually. I think I raced 4 or 5 times. I actually finished one race, and that race wasn't without its flaws. This race actually is the race that I actually finished. Like the first one, I got wrecked out. What happened? I spun out in the corkscrew, totally my fault, and then I got tagged by the guy behind me. And then later on in the race, going into turn 8, there was a person who had spun out, and they brought themselves back on the racing line, and I kind of darted over to go around them, hit the dirt going into turn 8, basically the last corner. I think that might be 8 or 9 off the top of my head, I don't know. Anyways, hit the dirt, got sideways, smashed into the wall, race is over. Race 2 was something stupid. Anyways, basically I had a lot of really shitty races, and so I was like, I don't know if I want to run this, because the thing is that I've been looking for a GT3, a roof, or well, Porsche, like IMSA style GT3 Cup. I really love this car. I've always loved this car. And so to have a dedicated series, I thought was pretty damn awesome. Like, this is something that I've been waiting for a while. And so I finally got it. It's D-Class. So under normal circumstances, that would mean like a lot of shitty drivers. But my I rating is high enough where I'm constantly in the top split. And the problem that I'm having is that I'm constantly in the top split, but I'm so rusty that my pace is so slow. Like, I was a good, I don't know, 3 to 4 seconds off pace. Now I gained pace like as the week went on. I think I was like, I began the week, we're hitting like 26s and high 25s, and by the end of the week I hit a couple mid to low 24s, but I averaged like low 25s. So I took off about a second, a little more than a second, through practicing and getting some races in, but ultimately it just was not a good week for me, because the track is prone for off tracks. It's a dangerous track because even if you're on the rumble strips, they're still slippery. They'll still kill you. And of course, you've got things like the corkscrew, turn 6. Those are just notoriously dangerous corners. And like I said, an included quote-unquote free track brings out I don't want to insult anybody, but it does bring out a lot of questionable decision making on some of the drivers. Drivers that make questionable decisions. It's not like Interlagos. Interlagos is, for whatever reason, Interlagos is a track that it takes normal iRacers and it turns them like batshit crazy and over aggressive. So this is the different one. This one's included in the service, so all the shitty drivers come out because it's free and they don't have to pay for it, obviously, because it's included. So they go and they get their runs in. Anyways, I'm glad they have this series in iRacing. I've been looking forward to it, like I said, a couple times already. I'm looking forward to next week for sure. I can't wait to get out of this week. But anyways, to the title of the commentary, this is the big news, the good news video that I've been talking about for the last 2 videos now. And initially my idea was to have my girlfriend on, but I think I'll do that in a subsequent video, because basically I just kind of want to tell my perspective of what's been going on. and then sort of introduce her to the channel, because it would be kind of nice to have her, become a little bit more active part of the channel. But I'm gonna do the Band-Aid moment, just get it out of the way. Back in May, I got engaged. I proposed to now my fiance, and so that is something that I've been thinking about doing probably since about January. And I've said it publicly before, and I'll say it publicly again, and I'll probably forever say it, but my buddy Chalk, currently he co-hosts Push to Talk FM, and he was a big part of the Battlefield community, and that's where I originally met him a number of years ago, and befriended him. And what started out with, this is what's interesting about the internet, is what started out as a gaming relationship ultimately blossomed into a true friendship. And so for us, I think the moment where we became more friends than gaming friends was when we both were dabbling in online dating. And so 2 years ago, so 2014, June of 2014, or actually a little bit before that, I started going out on some dates, and Chalk and I were talking about online dating, and I think at the same time he was sort of dabbling with it as well. And I had some pretty terrible online dates, or dates from people you met like on Match or eHarmony. That's it. So I did both of those like websites, not concurrently, but one right after the other, or at different times, because I think eHarmony had like a free month or 2 or 3 months, so I gave it a shot. Anyway, so what was interesting is that Chalk and I were talking, and I was telling him about this girl that I was going to meet, and I told him about my previous dates, and just sort of, I was like, this is not going so well. I think I'm going to give up on it. And then there was this girl who, her profile picture was very promising. I mean, not only because was she attractive, but she was a baseball fan. And I'm like, wow. The 4 or 5 other girls that I went out on shitty dates with, they weren't big baseball fans. And so it was interesting. I didn't necessarily make that a priority, but I always thought it was a plus. And so I met this girl. Her name's Melanie. I met her at a Mexican food restaurant, Fidel's. And I don't remember how we came up with that, but it was really funny because we actually started chatting through Instant Messenger on Match. And I got disconnected, and I had to reconnect. I got disconnected a handful of times, so finally she just like, do you want to just call me? So we talked on the phone for that first night. We were messaging back and forth, and then after that we talked on the phone for, like an hour and a half or longer, talking about baseball, talking about everything under the sun we talked about. And so we decided to meet and go out on a date. And then 2 years later, here we are. Engaged and planning to get married in March. So the reason why I bring up Chalk is because Chalk was there from the beginning, and so around January, it was even before that, Mel and I were talking about marriage, and it was definitely on the horizon. So this wasn't anything, when I proposed, it wasn't anything like out of the blue. It definitely was something that we were thinking about and was on both of our minds. And so we started the whole concept, or the whole sort of brainstorming of rings, and of what kind of rings does she like, and what size does she wear. And so I started to do my homework. And then I actually told her, I was like, it might be easy if you just go out and pick one, and I'll go buy it, honestly, because I don't know shit about rings. I don't wear rings. We never really talked about her taste in jewelry, and she's not very flashy, so it was difficult, for me to just go into a store and be like, what do I think she's gonna like? That'd be the worst thing, is buying something and spending the money you do spend on an engagement ring, and then finding out that she hates it. That would be the worst. So her and her sister actually were out one day at the North County Fair Mall in Escondido, and they just happened to go into this jewelry store, and they found a ring that she absolutely loved. So she got the business card with all the information on it, and she said, I'm going to give you this business card when I'm ready, because I was ready. I was like totally ready to get engaged and progress and make, bring our relationship to the next level. But she was not. She was really apprehensive, and she just wasn't ready. And so, I don't know, that was probably like January. I was bugging her, and not like a pesty kind of way, but maybe every week or so I might make a sort of a side comment about buying a ring or something, or oh, hey, when do I get that business card? And so on my birthday in March, she gave me a birthday card, and inside the birthday card was the business card with all the information on it. And so I was like, finally, oh my gosh, you know. And so, but it was a nice moment, because then I knew that she was ready and we were ready to progress. And so what was interesting is that I went ahead and I bought the ring like within a couple of weeks. I think it was like the end of March. And so they're like, oh, it's going to take about a month to get ready. So it'll be ready, I don't know, like 1st of May, which is great. I'm like, cool. We're going to go on our trip in May. And so that's when I want to propose. And this is where Chalk comes into play, because Chalk lives in Canada, lives in Vancouver, British Columbia. So we were actually taking a cruise to go up to Victoria and Vancouver, British Columbia. And I immediately was, got a hold of Chalk, sent him text messages, got on the phone with him. And I said, hey, look, Canada is really special to Mel, because, I mean, it is. There's a multitude of reasons. She's been up there a couple of times. She just loves it. It's a beautiful place. And I said, hey, do me a favor. Can you find me like a secluded sort of romantic spot that I might be able to propose to her? And he said, yeah, there's a couple areas that I know here. And he sent me some names. And there was a place in there called Stanley Park. And so I'm like, cool. Well, what else is around? And obviously not know anything about it. So then he says that there's also this place called Prospect Point, which you might love. And so I Googled it and I found some pictures of Prospect Point at Stanley Park. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so perfect. And so I set about arranging this. It was a very loose arrangement. It wasn't like anything that was like totally planned out to the T. But I thought that, anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. But I thought it was perfect. I thought, doing this would be perfect. Executing it would be the difficult part. And so I had to wait. And that was what I was doing. I was like waiting and waiting. And I was so excited because, like, I don't know about you guys, but when I get something for somebody, especially if it's a gift or something like an engagement ring, I cannot stand waiting. I want to give them that thing like immediately. I got to do it. I want to give it up. But I was quite surprised. I was able to keep that thing hidden for a long time, the better part of a month. And so, I asked her mom if I could marry her, because her parents are split up. Talked to her older brother about it. I eventually did talk to her dad. That's a long story. Won't get into it. Talked to her sister, her older sister. So a lot of people had to keep a secret for a very long time, about a better part of a month or so. So I'm really grateful for everyone that helped make this happen. Now, I don't want to go into the details of the actual proposal, because actually that's a part where I want to get her involved and get maybe dual commentary just to do both sides so we could talk about it. I think it'd be kind of fun. But anyways, the sort of long story short, I would not have been able to do this without my buddy Chalk. He's actually going to be the best man at my wedding now. So I think it's very fitting that he was there from the beginning. He helped with the engagement, and I think that it's great that he agreed to see it all the way through to the end and be my best man. So it's going to be interesting, kind of the process of going on from here, because we've been looking for wedding venues. We started to look for photographers and florists and what am I looking for here? We're looking for wedding cakes and pastries and things of that nature. So it's weird. Adulthood has struck full on in the last year, and it's crazy. It's interesting, to be on this side of it. Never thought I would be, but now that I'm here, I'm absolutely love it. So anyways, that's the big good news video that I've been putting off for a while. I want to sit down and make sure that I commentated it the way I really wanted to, and doing it in a format that I think is fitting. So the race really wasn't much to watch, I'll be honest with you. It's nothing special, but like I said, it's a throwaway sort of background video so I could tell this little quick tale. But hopefully for the next video, I can get Mel in here and we can do this dual commentary and talk about our trip to Canada and the engagement, and introduce you guys to her. So as always, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I shall talk to you guys later.